What do you make of that news, really? I mean, it's a pre-election year. The president has stated his intention to run a second term. Nigerians are worried that he may not be fit to, take on that particular job a second time. Cheta, what do you say?
Well, my point of view is a bit different. The president is not a young man. Somebody of his age needs regular medical checkup. So what concerns me in the past with his previous medical absences was the lack of clarity by the official spokespeople. They were not telling us what was the problem. We still don't know what exactly made him go for an extended medical leave last year and where he was gone for a total of 156 days. So at least on this particular trip, they seem to have learned a lesson, and they are coming clean that he is going for a medical check. All the other things come afterwards. At his age, it's quite normal for somebody to be having a medical check. So if he's mentally competent to continue the job, that's fine. But regular physical checks, that's normal at his age. So I'm happy that at least this time around they were open about it.
Well, I don't think us getting to know about him going for medical checkup has really always been the problem. You just mentioned his age, and I believe that's what's raising the question. I mean, the party would never come out to say what really is wrong with the president. I believe most Nigerians are also not interested in knowing what the ailment is. What they really want to know is how available will the president be for governance, especially when you compare it to what played out last year. I believe that is the question. Do you agree that that's the question?
Well, no, I don't. Okay. It's this simple. Let's put it like this. I'm a young person in relative terms. I'm not yet 40. So what would knock me out, what would be debilitating for me would be quite different from what is debilitating for the president. And in a country like Nigeria, the president's decisions, the president's ability to act is very, very important. So in that respect, it's actually necessary for us to know if what he has or what he's going to check for is potentially debilitating. That's the difference.
Well, Cheta, let's talk about this party and the violence that broke out. I was opportune to see some of the videos that made the rounds, on social media. It's really amazing, what played out at one of the meetings. Whoever came around, the man who came around to disrupt the voting process, seemed like he was never arrested, and you had security presence around. Just what does this really signal to what's coming, in the elections next year? I mean, this is just a party meeting to begin with, and we have this level of violence. What do you think might play out?
Well, it has. It shows a level of desperation that is frightening. This is just within one party, which happens to be the ruling party. They control. So, as the ruling party, they, to some extent, control the levels of violence and coercion, and we are seeing this already. For the records, there were World Congress meetings across the 36 states, except in two, Ekiti and Osun, who are having governorship elections soon. So it was more about the governorship primaries in those states. Okay. And so from 34 states, we had 10 with outright incidents of violence, and then we had 11 where, because of disputes and disagreements, the World Congresses were inconclusive. Of the two states that are having governorship, the governorship selection process, Osun and Ekiti, we all saw what happened in Ekiti. There was outright violence, and that's, again, I'll use that word, frightening. It doesn't portend well for the whole electoral process, which has started and which will culminate in March of 2019.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution, Cheta.